Yeah. Hello, everyone. Is my voice audible, guys?
Yes, audible.
Uh, So, in last session, we were working on this part, right? Insert and delete. So, here we are able to insert a new record. So, I'm trying to add some new record here. Click on new user. Successfully, we are able to add and we are able to update our table. Now, if I want to delete any record, then if I just click on this, that particular record is getting deleted and it is updated in your table as well. I told you guys to clear this part. How many of you are able to clear this form on click of this new user? That is the first thing. Second thing, edit part also I have told, right? If you click on this edit button, you have to change this text to update user. This button text you have to change to update user. And whatever data you have here, you have to append that data on this text box and this drop down button. So how many of you done this task? Can I know on the chat? So if you guys don't do, then I have to skip the topic. Okay, this is how your project sessions will not work, guys. I will give the task, you have to complete it. At least you have to try. If you don't do anything, there is no use of teaching project as well. Okay, so 50% of project will be done by me, 50% will be done by you. You have to do the task, you have to complete it at any cost. If you don't complete, that part will be skipped. If I go back to that new user, first thing is I want to clear this form. So basically what we are doing, we are storing some data inside our state, right? So that state we have to attach to this text boxes. So here you have this name and city. So what we can do is simply go to your input box, nothing but your input element. Here simply add value attribute. And to this value attribute, assign your state as a value. Like state, like what is our state name? That is new user. New user dot value. Same value you can assign to your select boxes. But here it should be CT, and I think here it should be name, not value. It should be name. So now whatever data by default you will store inside your state, that data will be appended to your text box and drop down button. For example, by default here I am storing AIT and here CT Hyderabad. Then if I just save it and go back here, now see here I got AIT. Now we want to clear this part. So for this, what we have to do is here CT we cannot append because we have to add value for options in that case. So here what we can do is once user click on this button, here instead of get new user, we have to say add new user. And let me just change this function name to add. Now once successfully user is created, then simply we have to call this set new user and we have to just pass new object and we have to make value name value as a empty and CT value also empty.
So
Now,
instead of there, can we add the finally block and attach this one?
pardon?
Instead of the clearing inside the catch block, and that is the then block. So instead of that, can we add the finally? Because if you get the any exception, then that time this then won't be executed, right?
But here we are not using any try catch, right? If you want, you can add finally
Yes,
block
yeah.
as well.
After catch, we
That
can
will
add
work.
the finally. So if you get
Yeah,
the any exception,
you can do that. Okay. So if you come back here, now here I'm just trying to add something like Siddharth, some city, click on new user. Now successfully user will be created and your form will be clear. So this part is done. Now what is the next part we have to do? If I click on this edit button, I want to use same component for update purpose as well. For update purpose also, I want to use this component only. So if I click on this edit, first of all, I want to change this text to update user. This button text I want to change to update user. And whatever data I have here, this data I want to append to this particular text box and this particular drop down button. That is what I wanted to do. So for this, what we are going to do,
Can we use condition logic?
have you done?
No.
Why you guys are not doing? Already I have given this entire code to you, right? So how to do conditional logic? Can you tell me? So first of all, my button is in the users component. Here I have that button called edit. If I click on this button, I want to change the text of new user component. So here you have a users component. This is your users component. Here you have edit button. You have one more component called new user. In this user, you have the title. And this component name is new user. Now on click of this button, whenever you click this particular button, in users component, if you click on this button, then you have to change the title of new user component. In the same component means it was easy. But now button is in one component, text is in another component. Now if you click on this button, then this text should get changed. Now the question is how? Can you guys tell me how? You guys know architecture also, right? How our components are structured. So our components are structured like this. We have user home component. Under user home component, we are rendering new user and we are rendering users. Here we have users and new user. Now button is present in this component. Text is present in this component. Now if you click on here, here text should change. So somehow From this component, you have to send a signal to this component. That button is clicked. So how you will do that?
Yeah, we can take the constant variable, that is the boolean. Whenever we are calling to the edit method, inside that one we have to put the true value. Then if it, every time if it is false is there, always it will be showing to the new user. If it is true is there, edit user or
But where
something.
we have to create that Boolean component?
Users component.
Here?
Yes, wherever it is there in
Here if
inside
you create, how you will pass that here?
using to the
Using?
no no
Yeah, tell you. It's okay. Even if you tell wrong, it's fine. Whatever comes in your mind, just tell confidently.
using to the state variable related thing.
Yeah, but yeah, the question is, suppose here you are creating a variable and you are storing Boolean value, right? But now
Yes,
somehow
yes,
that Boolean value you have to give to this component, and then here you have to write the condition true or right. So
yes,
the
yes.
question is how you will pass that variable from here to here.
I feel
Like
that we have to create in user home, so
Mhm.
that because it is a common one for user as well as new user.
Nice. So what we have to do is here we have to create one state. In that state, we have to maintain true or false, nothing but Boolean value. Let's assume that we are maintaining a true. Now this state value we will give to this new user component. Now what this new user component will do, it will take this state value as a props and it will write one conditional rendering. It will say that if the state value is true, if the state value is true, then display the text like new user. If the state value is false, then display the text like update user. Okay. By default, we wanted to show new user components. That's why by default in this state, we will keep true. Okay. Let's write code up to here. Then we will see what next we have to do. So what we have to do, we have to create one state in user home component. So let's go to that user home component first. Now, why we are creating? Because why we are creating in the home component? Because that data we can give to this also. If required, we can give to this component also. If you are creating here, from here also you can pass, but it will be a complicated way because directly we cannot pass. So from here you have to pass here, from here you have to pass here, or else you have to use Redux. So here we have only one level. That is the reason props is better instead of implementing Redux here. That's why we are deciding to create a state inside the parent component so that that state, if required, we can pass to their childs. But right now, this state we required only in the new user. So what we will do, first in our user home, we will create one state here. Something like let is new user. I'm just creating a state name as a is new user. Set is new user. Use state, and by default, I want to store true. Now this state we will pass to new user component. So here we are rendering that new user component. Here we will pass that as a props. Now this new user we will access in new user component. Sorry, here what I have to pass. Yeah. So here we have to access as a props is new user. Now what we will do here in the H2 right now we are hard coding that content. So here we will write one conditional rendering. So in this, I need to write some condition inside this H2 JSX element. So take curly braces. Here we will write is new user. If this is a true, then show here text as a new user. If it is a false, then show the text as a update user. Now save it. Now if you come back here, now see by default, it will be new user only. But the moment I store false here, in this by default, if I store false, then it will be update user. Now same thing we have to do on button also. So I will just copy this as it is. And I will add on this button text also. So now if you see here, if it is update user, button is also update user. And if I change that state to true, new user here also new. But now what we have to do is on click of this button, we have to change this text. So to change this text, whenever you click on this button, somehow, whenever you click on this edit button, somehow you have to make this state value as a false. Now tell me, how can we change a state value? If you want to update your state, how you will be able to update your state? How can we update our state data?
Using set.
Using this setter function, using this function. Now this function is available in the user home component. That function, setter function, is available in user home. But we want to use that setter function once we click on this edit button. Whenever you click on this edit button, you have to call that setter function and you have to pass false. So what we will do, that setter function from this component, we will give to this component as a props. Now, once that function is available to these users, on click of the button, that function can be called. So simply copy this setter function and pass as a props to the users component. Now, why we are passing to the users component? Because in the users component, we have that edit button. So whenever you click on the edit button, we will call this function and we will pass value false. That's it. So go to the users. Here first, import like a props. So here you have to destructure that. Set is new user. Now this function we have to call whenever we click on this edit button. So what I will do here, I will add on click. I will define one function. And in this, I will call one function called update user. Now this update user I have to define. So somewhere here I will define. And here I will call set is new user. Here I will pass false. So what we are doing, whenever we click on this edit button, we are calling one function. Internally, that function is calling update user. And in update user, we are calling set is new user to false. So if you go back here, now if I click on this, now here I got update user, update user. If I refresh, if I click on any other update, here if I click, I got update user. But now this data, we have to bind to this text box and drop down. How you will do that? How you will do that? Now here you have users component and you have here new user component. In this new user component, you have text box and you have one drop down button. And here in the user component, you are displaying one table and in that you have data. You have username, you have CT, you have two buttons here. You have two buttons. Now what we have to do is, whenever we click on this button, whenever we click on this edit button, so whenever you click on this edit button, this content, this username, you have to append to this text box and this CT, you have to append to this drop down button. It means again you need to pass the data from user component to the new users component. So how you will do that? So again, you have here home component, user home component. Under that, you have this both the components. So you need to pass the data from here to here.
Same as delete user, there we are passing to the values ID related things.
Hmm.
So in the edit function, if the data is there, we can display. If the data is not there, we can use to the
But
as
how
the
you will pass? How you will pass the data?
so there will be edit user method inside element dot id or something. There only we can pass it
Mhm.
to through method.
No. Understood the requirement, right, everyone? What we have to do on click of this edit button. Here we are displaying name, right? Name and city. That name we have to add here. That city you have to append to this selection button. Somehow you have to pass the data, that name and CT data from user component to new user. Then only you can add here because text box and drop down button you have in this new user.
I think inside new user we create the object and pass the two parameter. One is a boolean, another one is a ID. And the check if it's a flag, then take the ID and call the Ajax and get the data and bind to the statement.
Why you want to go with that request again? If you can pass the data from one component to another component, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, you are passing ID. Instead of passing ID, better to pass city name and append it.
Yeah, that is also correct.
Right? It will reduce our network call as well. Okay. Now what we are going to do? First of all, in this new user, how you are in this new user, you have the text box and drop down button. So in that text box and drop down button, whatever data you will add, that data you are storing in some state, right? And that state somehow you have binded with your text box and your drop down also. And that state name is new user. This is the new user. Now, somehow, if you are able to bring your user's data and update inside new user, then automatically it will be binded to your state. For example, here if I add yes, and here if I add C1, and if I save it, now see, here you have yes1 and C1. It means if you can update your data in this state, new state, then your work is almost done. So this state and this setter function, or basically this setter function, you required in users component, because you have data here. In the users component, you have that data. So that data, if you are able to update in that setter function, then your work is done. Now the question is how you can make this setter function available to this component, because that setter you have created here. So what we will do now, this logic, this part, we will move from here into the parent component. And this new user, we will give to our new user component as a props. So that here new user can get it as a props and it can use in its logic. But here we require set new user as well. So what we will do, we will pass that set new user as well as a props. If you are passing as a props, then that state and set new user is available to new user component, so it can use in its component that logic. Now what I have to do? Now somehow this set new user I have to provide to the users component also, so that it can call it. So for that, again, I have to go to the users. Here I have to pass it. Set new user. Now this set new user, I can access in my users as a props. And now this set new user, you have to call inside this update user. And in this, you have to pass that particular user name and city. So anyways, on click of this edit button, we are calling this update user, and we have that specific user data inside this element. So that data we will pass here as an argument that we will receive here as a parameter, and that user we will pass here. That's it. Now, if I click on this edit, I got here Sneha, I got here 3. If I click on Siddharth, I got Siddharth C5. If I click on Ravi, I got Ravi C. Now see, our text also got changed and our button also got changed. Now here I can change it and click on this button. So whenever I click on this button, again this data now you have to add in the JSON server, and from that JSON server you have to update here. Now if you click on this button, this function will be called. Add a new user function will be called, because we are just changing the text here. Whether you call on new user or update user, this function will be called add new user. Now we don't want it to add a new user. Instead of that, we want update user. So what we can do here is we can create one more function, const update user. Now, if you want to update any user, you required two things. First, you required ID of that user and the new data of the user. So new data of the user we can get from this state only, because whenever you update here anything, suppose this Ravi Kumar, I have updated it. If I am changing CT to C4, anyways, this data will get updated in this state only, new user. And ID, anyways, we have received also. We have received ID as well from this user's component only. So here we got ID also. So whenever you are passing element here, now in this element, we have three properties. We have ID, we have name, we have city. And this object as it is, we are updating inside our set new user. It means inside the new user, ID is available. Plus, if you update name or city, that name and city will also get updated here. Now you have a data, complete data that is required to do the update request. Now, how to do update request? To do update request from Axios, we can call put function. Now this put function will also return one promise. So again, here also you have to handle with then and catch. So then we'll take one callback function. Catch will take one callback function. Now put will take two arguments. The first argument is URL. Second argument is your data, updated data that you wanted to send to the JSON server. So our updated data is inside this new user. So you can pass it. Now what is the URL? So anyways, this URL information also will be given by your server side people. So to update whatever URL is required, they will give you that information. But when it comes to JSON server, we have the same URL. But here we have to pass ID of the user as a path parameter. So in this URL, I have to pass ID of the user as a path parameter, how we have done for delete in the same way. So here I need to pass some dynamic data. So I am taking backticks. I am pasting this URL. After this results, we have to pass ID also. How to get ID from this new user? So new user dot ID. Now it will send us response. Here simply I will add alert. I will say updated user or user updated. And here error alert went something wrong while updating user. Now, if you want, you can just console.log and just check if something went wrong, what is that wrong. Now, this update user function we have to call if we are updating. And we have to call that on this click of button only. So here also, can we do one thing? Here instead of calling add new user, can I do one thing? Here also, can I write condition is new user. If it is a true, call add new user or else call update user. So here is it possible to call like that? Here I have to pass question mark. Update user. So what we are doing on click, we are checking the value of is new user. If it is a true, call add new user. If it is a false, call update user. Now save it. Now here also save it. Now if I come back here, let's see whether data gets updated or not. So here, let's suppose I am clicking on this Ravi. I got here Ravi. I will say Kumar. I will click on this update user. User got updated, but table will not be updated here yet. The table is not updated, but I wanted to check that latest data. So let me refresh. So here we got Ravi Kumar. So if you want table also should get updated, then what you have to do, same thing, whatever we have done for add user. So after updating, once we get the confirmation that user got updated, call that get users function. So if you come back here, now if I click on this Sneha edit, now Sneha data got appended here. I will change name to Sneha Reddy and I will click on update user. The moment I click on update user, now my table also got updated. Now once my table gets updated, I want to clear this data. Plus, I want to change this text again back to new user. Again, I want to change button text back to the new user. So first of all, to clear this data, simply we can call this function. Which function? Set new user. We can call this function. And to clear that data, to clear data, we have called it. And to change that text, we have to call set is new user and we have to make it true. But that function we are not passing yet to the new user. So from our user home, what we can do is this is new user set is new user function. This one set is new user function we have to pass as a props to this new user as well. So now I can just copy this one and I can go back to the new user. I can import as a props here basically. And that function again we can call here. And we can make it true. So now if I refresh, so it's a new user. So let me add a new user here. Something like Raju, CT like C1. I will click on new user. Successfully added Raju. Now I will click on Ravi Kumar, edit. Ravi Kumar got edited. I will just remove this Kumar from here and I will keep CT as it is and I will just click on update user. User updated. Here, see Ravi got updated and again we got that new user text back. Button also got changed and text also became cleared. Now if I want to delete Siddharth, I will click on delete. Siddharth will be deleted. If I want to add new user here, something like dummy, selecting some city, click on new user. I got here dummy. I want to update name, click on edit. I will just update here name to Raj Sharma. User is updated. So here we are able to perform all the operations. Now for update, what we did, just we have called Axios put. First argument, you have to pass URL with the user ID. Anyways, this information you will get from the backend people only. And second argument is your data, the new data which you want to send to your JSON server. That updated data you have to send. So if you see put and post, they are almost same. If you see they are almost the same, only URL pattern will change. Here we are not passing any path parameter. Here we are passing path parameter. So put is used for update, post is used for insert new data. Now here I will just remove all these alerts. We don't want to keep all these alerts. For error, we will keep. If I go back to the users here also. Done. Now here if I add anything, dummy, added, click here, done, change, Rajesh, updated, delete, delete. So like this, you can delete whatever you want. You can update. If you want, you can add. So we are able to do all those. We are able to access the data from JSON server. We are able to add. We are able to update. We are able to delete also. Now we are doing with the JSON server. Later on that JSON server will be replaced with your backend application. So whenever we are doing project, there we will use backend application instead of JSON server. There we will learn little bit extra things about this Axios. Right now we are just learning how to use URL and how to pass data. Later on we will see how to pass some extra information like your headers, your tokens. So if you want to pass some headers information, so how you will pass that? So headers information we will pass using third argument in post and put. In second argument using get and delete. So how that second, for that we require server side application. So we don't have, so that we will see in our project development. So this is about your entire React syllabus. Now there is two terms to understand, that is controlled and uncontrolled components. Controlled and uncontrolled components. So what is this controlled and controlled? So basically in your components, whenever you are designing forms, the way we have designed here. So whenever we design this form, if you handle this form, if you handle using state concept, then that component is called controlled component. If form is handled using state concept, then it is called controlled component. If the form is handled, if you are handling the form using any other technique, form is handled without state. Like maybe you might use directly DOM APIs, or you can use some external library, or you might be using ref concept, that is use ref hook. So form is handled without state like DOM API, external library, or use ref, then such component are called uncontrolled components. Uncontrolled components. Managing the form means, or handling the form means, just getting the data from your form, adding the data in your forms, all that. Whatever we have done here. So this we managed this form only. We are accessing the data from here. On click of this, we are adding some data here. We are clearing it. All that is called handling the form. So if you are handling the form using state concept, then it is called controlled component. If you are handling form with some other concept like DOM API, any external library or use ref, then it is called uncontrolled component. Then it is called uncontrolled component. Okay. So this is about your React. Bootstrap is cancelled, guys, for your batch. Now why it is cancelled? Because you guys are not doing any task. You guys are not doing any task. Whatever task I have given, no one did any task. I think only one person or two persons did, and they have submitted. Remaining, no response. Whenever I ask, have you done task? You say no. You don't respond, so you don't even say no also. So if you are not following what I say, why I should follow what you say now? Okay. Now cancelling the bootstrap is a punishment for you. Is it okay? From our course, from starting to end, initially some task people did. After that, everybody became done. If you don't do task, how will you understand the concept? How will you get the doubts? If you do the task, then only you will get the doubts. You will clarify it and you will learn. If you don't perform tasks, then how you will get doubts, how you will learn the things, how you will get the ideas, how to implement it. At least try. If you are not able to do, at least you have to tell that I have done up to here, I got stuck here. Then when I explain the solution, you will come to know where you got stuck and why did you got stuck and how to overcome that part. If you don't try, then no one can help you guys. Okay. So just go through syllabus of your React. If anything is pending, just let me know in tomorrow's session, guys. If anything is pending, let me know in tomorrow's session. And anyways, from tomorrow, we are going to start with Bootstrap. Okay. So I'm not canceling anything. I will do my job. So we will start Bootstrap from tomorrow's session. Okay. It will take some sessions. So first, let's complete Bootstrap. Then I will show how to integrate Bootstrap with React. And then we will start working on the project. So we'll develop one e-commerce project. Now again, remember in this project, you have to complete the task. If you're doing task, if you stuck at some problem, that's okay. You can share your screen or you can just, whenever I will explain the solution, you will get the answers. But if you don't even try, if you don't do even 1%, then that is the problem. I'm not saying that task should be completed. I'm saying that you have to try it. At least you have to try it. If you try, then only you will be able to complete, or else you might stuck at some part. If you stuck at some part, if I explain that solution, then you will learn from that part. Acha, I got stuck here. I was doing like this, but this is how it should be done. So that learning you will get. So you have to try at any cost. So first we will finish this, then we will start the development of the project. Now in this, all your React concepts will come into picture. So almost this project development, we will start from the next Monday only, because I require 3-4 sessions, 5 sessions on Bootstrap. So maybe this week we will cover only Bootstrap part. So you have exactly 1 week of time now. So in this 1 week, just revise all your React topics. Whatever we have covered, revise all those topics, because in project development, we don't know which topic will come into picture. So all the topics you have to revise. So you got time to revise, just revise it so that while developing it, you will not have any problem. Now here I won't explain the concepts. I will just explain you the development part of the project. Now I won't explain what is state, I won't explain what is Redux, I won't explain what is routing, how to implement routing. That part will not be done. Now it will be like, okay, this is the scenario. Now let's implement state here. Now this is the scenario, let's implement Redux here. This is the scenario, let's implement routing here. This is how things will be now. Whatever we have learned, all those we have to apply on the projects now. Okay. So let's start Bootstrap from tomorrow at same time. Just go through syllabus once. If anything is pending, just let me know in tomorrow's session, guys.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Mm.